Welcome to 13 Minutes of News. In 13 minutes or less. That's right, guys. Hey, some quick shout outs before I even jump in. Let's give a shout out to Moves Financial. Okay, you guys check these people out. Go check out the website, movesfinancial.com. Solo. You guys, guaranteed earnings. Worksolo.com. Check them out. And of course, Gary'sApps.com. Driver Utility Helper, Maximo, and FlexAlert. All beneficial, all safety tools, and all better earnings tools. So that said, there's a couple things I want to shout out before I get into this real quick. The programming on the Rideshare Rodeo channel is changing a little bit because we moved out of the podcast co-host summer. They will still be coming on to YouTube. And I will update you on that this coming week. But two things that I am doing that I want you guys to be aware of, projects off the channel that I'm doing on other channels that you should be aware of. One is every other week, I am doing a piece with Hannibal. We're doing it on external link gigs, websites, not necessarily apps, but like we just talked about 2 weeks or, the first one we talked about Dumpling with the CEO, got into its model and how it differs from the rest. This last week, Tuesday, we talked about last mile delivery services, apps and not apps, just websites where you can get these gigs that pay 4 to 5 times easy what you're making right now. So Hannibal has a video up. I'll try and put the links into this comments. I just got to remember to do that. But I'll try and put the link in that. And then the other thing that I do is every Wednesday with the Driven Dad and the Driven Mom, we do Coffee in Colorado. And I don't really know how to tell you what that's about because each week's been a little different. But they're super awesome, super fun. They happen in the morning. What is it? I think we do 10:30. So I think it's 12:30 Eastern time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, and we run about 50 minutes is the run time. So if you catch it on the replay, that's great. If you catch it live, you're going to catch us live. And we're just outside chilling, having some coffee, and it's just fun. So join us, help us create what this will be. And that's on Tony's channel, the Driven Dad channel. So make sure you check out Tony's channel, subscribe, love, like, all that stuff. Bell, whistles, everything. All right, now let's jump into some news here real quick because there has been some, I've talked about it on a few different things, but they were kind of splashed around through the week. So let me pull them all together, what I think was very important that happened this week. The newest one that just the last couple days has been being talked about is the Nuro Uber Eats merger. Nuro now has a value of over $8 million. So they are, with the depleted value of Instacart to put it into proportion for what a startup at $8 billion looks like. Instacart was valued at 48 to 24 to 16.4. So literally, I think it's 8.4 that Nuro's at. So Nuro is now worth more than half of Instacart when they IPO, just for perspective. Now, Nuro is an autonomous delivery service that teamed up with Uber. And if you're going, I do remember that. And I remember that they're little crappy trash cans that move around campuses and people were throwing them into rivers or kids were following them into streets. And they were, literally, they were like this big. They were like maybe 2 feet tall at most, but I think more like 1.5 feet. You could kick them, you could knock them over. People were taking baseball bats to them. So that did not fly real well. Nuro now, if you go to uberliftdrivers.com, where all this comes from, you guys can find everything there. Check it out, uberliftdrivers.com. It's not just rideshare. But on yesterday's article that I posted was Uber Eats and Nuro signed a 10-year deal. Okay, so if you really can't see it, but go to uberliftdrivers.com, and this isn't a trash can anymore. It's a 2/3 size SUV, and they've taken out the side paneling where you would get the food from. So I'm not really sure how this thing works. I'm not sure what the advancements that have been made. We did look into it enough to know that they won't just be taking over every Uber Eats job. However, they are being launched in Mountain View, California, which is down by Palo Alto and Silicon Valley, and they will also be launched in Houston, Texas. They will be working college campuses and things that they thought the Nuro trash cans were going to be doing. But finally, we see a little value in Nuro. It's not just a trash can from the bathroom that they pasted some dollar eyeballs on. It's actually an actual vehicle that looks, here's where the kicker is, that looks very expensive, okay? And if I know I've talked about it enough, but maybe not on 13 minutes yet, but maybe I've never broken down where the price of an autonomous vehicle for Waymo and stuff really is, what it costs them to build one. And that doesn't include any of the problems they have with them breaking down, not pulling over and evading police, the fact that people will be puking in them and they cannot be cleaned in between things. If people drop things out of their pocket, including, and I know this, I don't want to relate it to drugs, so I'm going to actually say diabetes. If somebody has diabetes and carries around an insulin needle and it were to fall out, nobody's going to be looking even in the back seat. Like me as a rideshare driver, in between every ride, I turn, make sure everybody got their things out, because I know, not because of that kind of reason, because I'm driving, so I'm going to stop that. But I know that if somebody left something, they're going to call and want me to bring it back. And it's always a hassle. I always do it. However, it can get you a bad rating if somebody leaves something, because if you don't get right on getting it back to them, even if you've left the area and it just needs to be gotten back to them later, as long as you get in touch with them and it's cool, but otherwise they're going to give you a bad review, because they're going to put it all on you that they left something in your car and that you're not available to just come to them and do everything they need now that they left it. And sometimes I can understand that, if somebody leaves something important, but, if you've already left the area and you're 30 minutes away, somehow the customer gets the experience of, this was my driver, this was everything, so he needs to do this now. They don't really understand that becomes more of an Uber issue, even though we're the contractor. Uber should be saying, and they do kind of, but it's pretty pathetic, but they should be saying, hey, listen, this can take up to 24 hours to get back. Please get in touch with your driver. And that should be facilitated through that. It shouldn't just be get in touch with the driver and he'll get it back to you immediately, because it immediately is not what happens most of the time. And it can cause a bad rating. So a customer forgetting something, but let's say that they dropped an insulin needle out and then a family gets in next. What if a kid sits on that insulin needle? I'm just saying, I'm bringing up one little thing. There's hundreds to dissect. And we will this week when we do the Long Island Rodeo Experience. Join us. It's going to be fun. Tuesday, the 13th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Join us live. Okay, so these things are out. We're going to see them in the two towns. I think we're going to see an actual failure of the LiDAR, because Mountain View gets some weather and Houston gets some weather, and they're putting them out this fall, meaning kind of right now in the next month or two. So I think we're going to see some failures because the LiDAR doesn't work. So we're going to be following this. We'll be talking about it. I think I touched on this last week, but Instacart, in their amazing IPO rush for the gate, has decided that they want to team up with some people. Maybe this will be a good thing, right? Problem is, they're teaming up with Big Lots, The Container Store, and Staples. To me, it just kind of solidified the fact that Instacart is going out of business. So if you do make money on Instacart, make it while you can. I have a feeling they will either sell out or they will not be around too much longer. They are at, 16 to 48. I mean, we're looking at approximately, they're at about 35 to 40% of the estimated value when they IPO right now. If it doesn't drop anymore, they're at 35 to 40% of what they were 11 months ago. So if that tells you anything, they're losing about over $3 billion in their value a month. So 5 more months, if they don't IPO, they will be worth 0 if you were to continue that math. So just saying, but we'll see. Also, Instacart is Instacart is expanding into furniture and appliance delivery. Funny thing is, like I just said about the Hannibal thing we did, that talks about all the last mile delivery services that pay you correctly for that kind of work. How do you think Instacart's going to pay you? I won't even touch this. I'll let you guys digest it. So the Uber yellow taxi in New York City has been merged. It's done. It's now available as of 2 days ago. It says that the price of yellow cab and Uber X are exactly the same and that they are upfront pricing to the passengers and to the drivers in full, complete transparency, everything we ever want. However, there's some glitches here, because if you go under 60th Street now into Manhattan and you're an Uber, you have to pay a $26 or $28 fee to go under 60th Street. The yellow cabs do not, because they have medallions. They get it for free. So really what the customer should see is it depends where they're going. They're above 60th and they want to come to Manhattan. It's at very minimal going to be $26 or $28 more than a yellow cab. So they're not going to be the same price. Very interesting to see where this goes. I'm excited. We talked on Thursday about Uber's ex-security chief, Joe Sullivan, who is being thrown under the bus for the entire scandal of the 57 million users who were hacked in 2016 or 2017. So that's quite a story. It's on uberlyftdrivers.com. You guys check it out, because it's amazing that these companies, these monster giant companies that cause problems all over the place, can still throw somebody under the bus and make, oh, it was all him. It can't be all him on a company that size. Come on. There's people who make financial decisions and other things. And this is what I want to leave you with today. So the economy is about to have a work from home reality check. I've been talking about this a little bit. I want to know your guys' thoughts on this. So please leave them in the comments, smack the like button and leave them in the comments if you could. But I want to know what you guys think. This story is also on uberlyftdrivers.com, but it was pulled from barchart.com. So it's the stock exchange type information. And so there's an argument on here of, we're going to see everybody returning to brick and mortar buildings, no more work from home. And then there's CNN Business and other people on the other side saying, no, we're going to see continued work from home. And you guys can either just comment on it, on that blanket statement, or go read the article and then comment on it. But I'd love to see what you guys think. That said, that's gig economy news in 13 minutes or under. Actually under. Peace.